All right, so now in the interest of keeping things simple, let's just add some really simple materials to our couch here. And the way we do that is by creating a material library and then assigning those materials to the couch. So we're going to want to assign materials to the blanket, a material for the pillows, and a material for the couch itself, as well as a material for the legs. So that's 4 materials. Let's create a material library with those 4 materials that we're going to need, and then we can assign them to our couch. So down here, I'm going to create a material library. And I'm just going to wire that in, and I'm going to jump inside, and I'm going to create a MaterialX subnet. Okay, so this USD MaterialX subnet is what I'm going to want here. And we'll just start with this first one here, and we will call this the material that we're going to use for our couch. Just the couch itself. And then we'll jump inside here, and we can see we got all these different nodes. These are what we use to build up our shaders in MaterialX and USD. And so what I'm going to do is just throw down the standard material. Inside of here, hit tab and type standard, the MaterialX standard surface. Instead of wiring out this MaterialX surface, I'm going to wire this MaterialX standard surface into my output here. And then I'm going to choose a base color of, let's just do red, something very obvious right now, so we can see what we're doing. And then we're going to hop back up out of our material library and back into our stage context right here. And then we're going to do an assign material. So we're going to assign material node here. And this is where we specify what we want this material to be assigned to. So here, if I put the display flag here, I can say that I want to assign certain primitives a certain material. So I've got my material. I know the material path I want to use. I can just go into my materials inside of my list here and grab my couch material that's been created in my USD scene and just drop it in the material path here. And then I could actually specify which primitives I want to assign it to by selecting from SOP import 1, I'm going to select mesh 0 and assign that there. And you can see that the couch turns red, but the whole entire couch turns red. And this is where it becomes important to start naming and grouping your geometry in a way that USD can understand. So let's go do that real quick. So we can kind of break this couch apart into different pieces using groups. So let's jump back over to our object context and jump inside of our couch and start to find all the little areas of things that we want to change up. So I know that what we want to do is we want to take all of this part right here. So right after the frame and the cushions come together, we've got this merge and then this match size. Right after this match size, what we could do is throw down a group here, and we'll just call this main couch, like so. And then over here, these are the legs or the feet. We can throw down a group here. Well, let's just put it above this null, and we can call this the feet. So cool. Here in our merge, now if I middle mouse click on this, you can see we've got 6 primitive groups. We've got the arm, top, back top, feet, and main couch. Those are the ones that we want. We don't actually want to keep these other groups. We just want to keep the main couch and the feet group that we just created. We created other groups over here when we were trying to procedurally determine what was going to be extruded and whatnot, but now we don't need those groups. So actually, right here, let's delete a bunch of groups that we don't need. I'm going to throw down a group delete. And from this drop-down menu right here, I'm going to grab the arm top, back top, and side groups so that when I middle mouse click here now, I'm only left with the feet group and the main couch group. So that's good. Now I need another group for the throw pillows and for the blanket. So let's just throw down a group here under the blanket. Or actually, I'm going to put this above the null just so that it exists right there. And I'm going to call this group the blanket. And then I'm going to throw down another group right here and call this the throw pillows. Or I'll just call it pillows. So we got our pillows group here, and down at the bottom of our couch, we have our couch with decoration. We've got blanket, feet, main couch, and pillows. Nice. To get it so that this is recognized by USD, we need to actually name these primitives. So if I go in here and I create a name from groups, there's a node called name from groups, and I wire that in right here, what it's going to do is it's going to take all those groupings that we just created and convert them into a name attribute. And a name attribute is what USD is going to use to determine what, where the different pieces of geometry are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just, instead of piece, I'm going to flag that off and put a star in there. So it's actually going to just grab every group that's incoming, not just ones that have the word piece in it. And it's going to label those blanket, feet, main couch, pillows, etc. So you can see that we've got all those 4 different pieces put into our scene now. And now if I go back over here into the stage context, under the assign material, I could actually assign the red material just to the main couch, for example. And you can see now that the main couch is red, but none of the other things are. All right, now let's create the materials for the rest of our stuff. I don't actually want the couch to be red, so I'm actually going to just pick a nice beige color. I'll just maybe, click on this orange and kind of dial it back a little bit, desaturate it a little bit, like so. That's a good starting point. And then what I'm going to do is jump out to the material library. I'm just going to option drag this down. So I'm holding down Alt and dragging it away to create a copy of it. We'll call this one the blanket. And we'll Alt drag that away and call this one the pillows. And Alt drag this away and then call this the legs. So actually, I'm going to just let's just arrange these like this, make it a little bit easier to see. So for the pillows, let's make the pillows like a nice kind of a red color, maybe a dark red color like that, maybe a little desaturated. And then for the blanket, we'll make the blanket like a nice kind of dark gray color like that. And then, whoops, I accidentally closed that and switch to material palette. I'm just going to right click and go to network view here. So I'm back in my stage context and jump into my material library. And for the legs, I'm going to just make them black. So we're just going to switch this to the base color back to a really dark black color like that. And then let's jump back to the stage. And then in our assign material, we just want to assign these other materials. So right here, we've got our main assignment. We can increase the number of materials that we're going to assign by clicking this plus button. So I'm going to click it 2, 3, 4. So we got 4 total. We got our first one up here. We're assigning materials to the main couch. Second, we want to assign to the blanket. I'm going to drag that in there. We want to assign to the feet. I'll drag that in there, and also the pillows, which I'll drag down here. And likewise, we're just going to grab these materials and drag them into their respective slots. So we've got blanket right here. So I'm going to go drag the blanket material in right here. The feet material. So I called it legs in the material and I called it feet in the object. So maybe I'll just jump into material library and name the legs feet just to keep things consistent. So back up here on our assign material, I'm going to drag the feet material onto the feet object and then the pillow material onto the pillow object. So you can see all those have taken on a different sort of a color right now. So now I'm going to turn Karma back on and see what we get. And you can kind of see those different materials are showing up in different ways. So now everything is pretty shiny, and I think that it could be a little bit more rough. So I'm going to kind of work on maybe the blanket material first. So let's go to the blanket. I'm going to dive inside the blanket and select the standard surface material. And let's go to the specular tab. And I'm just going to increase the specular roughness quite a bit. And you can see that that blanket really kind of flattens out. And actually, to make things go a little bit quicker, I'm going to select this render region button right here. This render region is going to allow me to drag a little box over just one part of my scene so that I'm only focusing on rendering that material right there. So yeah, I'll maybe increase the specular roughness a little bit and maybe just reduce the specular entirely by 50%. And I might just do the same thing for the pillows as well. I'm going to select my render region and drag over the pillows. And let's go up into the material library, select the pillows, and go to the specular tab here and reduce the specular by half, increase the specular roughness to 0.8. And let's also go and do the same for the couch material. Let's grab the couch. And we will go to the specular tab, reduce the specular amount by half, and increase it to about 0.8. So that looks a lot better, like so. The only other thing I think right now, we need a little bit more subdivisions. I think the legs are looking pretty good, but you can tell that the legs need normals as well. So we can kind of make adjustments to our geometry a little bit to make this look a little bit nicer. So let's go add some subdivisions and subs. I'm just going to turn this back to Houdini GL view. and click clear render region. Let's jump back up to the object context and jump into our couch. And maybe right here where our cushions and our couch are together right here, I'll just add some subdivisions here. So let's subdivide here to just give it a little bit more detail. Maybe we'll give it 2 subdivisions there. Should be good. And then where our feet are, let's add some normals to our feet. So I'm just gonna add add a normal node right here. Or actually, I'll just add the normals to the very end. We'll just throw down a normal down here. And I don't know if you can see it, but if we kind of zoom into the feet, before we added the normal, it was kind of trying to like predict a kind of a round shape to it. Whereas I want the feet to appear more angular. So if I untick this, you can kind of see we get very squared off feet. And that's basically just going to say that any 2 faces that are more than 60 degrees apart from one another are going to get this sort of hard edge like we have right now. I also think that we need some more subdivisions on our blanket and our pillows. So let's go to the blanket and add a subdivide here. We'll just add 1 level of subdivision here. That kind of smooths that out a little bit. Maybe we'll actually switch this to open subdiv loop mode. That just is a slightly different method of subdividing. It just increases the triangles there. And also for our pillows, I'm going to just alt drag the subdivide over here to add that to our pillows as well. And so looking at the pillows, maybe I'll actually give this 2 subdivisions just to really get it nice and smoothed out like that. So now when we switch from our object context back to our stage context from the little drop-down menu and switch over to Karma, things should look a lot smoother. And so yeah, that's looking a lot better already, I think. So cool. Just gonna pause the render real quick. Now this whole time I had my dome light off, so I just want to kind of reintroduce that into my scene. I'm going to actually resume the render here. And let's just turn on the dome light. You can see that it's really blown out right now. I'm going to just reduce the intensity of the dome light down to some lower value. Like let's try 0.2 for right now. Yeah, I think that that's adding a little bit to the scene. That's nice. Now this isn't like this isn't the greatest render. Obviously we'd want to be adding like more textures and normals and stuff to this stuff. But really to keep things simple, I just wanted to kind of do some very basic rendering to get us into it.